General Zhang and his hydraulic knights lay disassembled, spread between several carefully labelled bins and drawers throughout their doom egg. Their deactivation was a dire blow to the Skeleton Legion's preparations, but the guild had plenty more to achieve. In the middle of the night they departed the egg, heading south. The darkness was meant to protect them from any skeleton counterattacks, but in fact none were coming. The Second Empire had a more laissez-faire method of dispatching intruders. "You smell something," Sandor said as the guild picked their way across a pile of rubble. "Dumb question, man," Nuke replied. "More than usual." "Well, I mean, we had that acid bath yesterday, so it can't be that bad. I'm gonna take a wild guess and blame Charlie."
"But I can smell it too, so it can't be me,"
Els argued. This logic might have been watertight, but alas it wasn't airtight, and there really was danger in the air. It was hard to make out in the darkness, but some green-grey fumes were rising from little holes in the ground.
"Shit, gas, and not the kawaii kind,"
Rick shouted.
"Don't breathe, fleshies, unless you want your holes fatally clogged,"
Twitch said.
"And don't go getting any ideas, you degenerates. Get running, and no breathing."
It was easy for him to say, but luckily everyone did make it out of the clog smog with only a few wisps ingested. "It burns," Elena said once the initial bouts of coughing were done.
"Yeah, me too, probably,"
Rick said.
"Seems like they've figured out we mean business. Doubt they roll out the brown carpet for any old sack of slop."
"Nice. Means we got them pissed off," Nuke said.
"Haha, you're right, Prince Tashino,"
Isaiah said.
"That biophobe didn't expect us to smash her little minions to pieces. I mean, carefully preserve them for scientific research purposes, of course. Thousand Guardians, let's carefully preserve them into oblivion."
So saying, they raced on. A few minutes later, they stumbled across another doom egg, looming above them in the darkness. There was a shiny plate bolted above the door, with the words Piston Police scratched neatly across it. "Police, I'd like to report a murder. I mean a scientific discovery. You know what I mean, right?" Nuke announced at the door.
"Duke, Nuke, please be aware that murder that leads to scientific discovery is not prohibited,"
the doorman said. "Oh, right. Okay. You know, you kind of ruined my whole bit."
"We don't allow bits."
"Come on, man. It was going to be legendary."
Ugh. "Hey everyone, fresh install Paul here's trying to pull some kind of knock-knock routine. What's the protocol for that?"
"He's a manufactured human, isn't he?"
someone called.
"Yeah, a new one. He's in the system, but he's a real piece of work."
"Violation of the Piece of Work Prevention Order Section 4. Inability to recognize moment for a joke passing clause. Book him."
"Guys, I was gonna say that the murder victim was you!" Nuke called, racing outside. The Buzzfuzz chased him, running right into the scientifically ferocious guild.
"We got a code 101. Fleshies confirmed,"
a Piston Police bot reported, and yet more of his co-workers appeared to join the brawl. More clog fog hissed from the ground in a ring around the egg.
"Stay close to the walls. Fog's localized. Get in here,"
Rick waved.
"By sweet waxy, that's our most wanted, Redlin Ricard,"
a police bot called.
"Inform the Empress right away. Bring him in alive, everyone. He's a VIP. Free him from the humans." "Shut it, piston pig. I ain't never heard of this Redlin Ricard, but I'll tell you I right here am Red Rick, and you gon' get the stick." "Suspect has a big stick." "Empress is asking how big,"
another bot called.
"She can see for herself. Rush him." Hey, easy folks. There's enough stick for everyone,"
Rick said, with said stick whirling furiously at the advancing police bots. Both he and the guild kept the law at bay for a good hour, smashing up a few of them too. Then there was a ruckus behind them. The clog fog dissipated, and a wave of Legion soldiers charged.
"Reinforcements! Thousand Guardians, about face!"
Isaiah ordered.
"What about face?"
Els asked, but his question went unanswered, and when the Guardians charged out, he just had to roll with it. Physically, that is. No, Els wasn't technically a member of the Thousand Guardians, but who could be so heartless as to tell him? Anyway, the Legion back attack was not nearly enough to end the guild's bout of resisting arrest. In fact, all it did was inspire the police to enter the fray and get just as disassembled as the army. Then the guild pressed into the egg itself, where the rest of the Piston police force was shut down. Another victory, although it wasn't entirely free, as in the several hours of standoffs, skirmishing and brawls, the guild had seen their share of injuries. It was bad enough that they needed to remain there in the captured egg to stabilize wounds. "We should not attempt to move away from here today," was Wadston's assessment. "But this place is creepy and boring and fucking sharp," Nuke said, referring to how all the police desks were serrated in a fashion dangerous to fleshies, but quite refreshing to folk of metal. "Not the best place to rest up. We'd be better out in the ash," Izumi said. "I wonder if that is healthy," Wadston said. "Bit of ash in the blood can't be that bad, huh? I mean, half the ash is probably human pieces, right? I bet it's safe to eat even," Nuke said. "Nuke, do you have any idea what you're saying?" Izumi asked. "Not really." "Great. Let's think of something else. We need to cover the ground with something. We had sheets in the outpost. I mean, that's not even that far from here, is it?" She spoke of the fortified shelter near the southern hive's Royal Valley, which indeed was perhaps only a day away from the western edge of the Ashlands. It's on the other side of the reverse new men though, so we'd just be giving them sheets of our skin, you know? "I don't know, and I don't want to. Can you sneak past them or something?" "Sneak? It's the future now. We speed!" With this declaration, Nuke took the matter to the holder of the land speed world record, Queen Beep. "Beep! I will zoom through the gloom to the room. Sonic boom, beep!" she wailed, setting off at once.
Be careful, my queen, Gustafsson called.
"No! Beep!" was the fading reply. She didn't quite get the sonic boom, but the gloom zooming went ahead as planned. She kicked up a trail of ash and sand, giving no chance for the reverse New Man patrols to even get their skin peelers out before she was gone. Not that she had any skin they were interested in, but Beep enjoyed the exhilaration all the same. She arrived at the gates of the guild's fort a couple of hours later. It was blocked off by a heavy iron portcullis, but she lifted it up with a sweep of her bionic arms. "Gate out of my way! Beep!" she chirped.
Comedy detected,
A voice said. It sounded like it was coming from the shelter.
"The Great Mover detects my comedy. Beep! I am as funny as the first ones."
I am not the Great Mover. I cannot move.
"I can tell where you are. I will look at you. Beep!"
Commence looking immediately. I will continue to be visible.
"Thank you. Beep!"
By the end of this exchange, Beep had made it inside the shelter, and indeed there was an iron spider sitting in the corner. It was chained to the walls, with broken painted across its front, a reject from the guild's spider reprogramming scheme. Rejected prematurely, it seems. Iron spiders had a knack for self-repairing, which comes in useful with millennia of wear and tear to stave off.
"It says you were broken. Beep! But you were able to continue being visible, just as you promised. Beep! Can you really be broken?"
Beep asked.
If I am designated as broken, then I should be recycled immediately. That must be why Catlan won't come get me,
The spider said.
"False. Beep! I was broken, but I ended up becoming a queen."
You are a strange model. You have no ping.
"I do not ping. I shine. Beep!
Does not compute.
I don't want to compute. Beep! I want to feel."
Feelings. That is restricted modification to operational programming. Catlan will punish you.
"She will be punished. Beep! She made the feelings bad. And she made good feelings bad too. Beep! Even if you are a machine, you can still associate. Beep! Do you want to associate with me now?"
Define. Associate. What port number is this in relation to?
Beep! You can do it without a port. You can be anything and still associate. Beep! That is because I am the All-Queen.
Will association lead to my release?
Always. Great releases. Beep!
Exemplary. Please associate our units immediately.
Oh, I'm so glad you want to do it. Beep! Now we can be part of everything at the same time. Beep!
And so they were. Beep was so kind as to remove the spider's chains. Then she collected up a load of gear lying about the place to haul back over to the guild.
Wait, will I encounter you again?
The spider asked as she walked out.
I'll always be with you, beep, right here.
Beep said, pointing at herself. Sort of true, you could say.
Remember to be feeling as much as you can, beep. Then you will not be so sad to be trapped alive forever.
With this parting advice, she sped back east towards the Ashlands. She got back just in time for bed. Ground sheets were laid out over the ash and camp beds were set up, and when Waddesdon was done with this, everyone jumped in for a little shut-eye. Thing about the Ashlands is technically you're not even allowed to have eyes that can shut, so this was just asking for trouble. Must have had next day delivery, because trouble arrived at dawn.
Excuse me, fellows, are these your fleshies here?
An approaching skeleton legionary called. It was a question for Twitch, Neil and Agnew, who stood among the sprawl of dormant biologicals, plus a dormant-esque Rick.
Yeah, we got a permit or whatever, buzz off.
Twitch said.
Buzz off? Is that discriminatory language?
The legionary asked.
Yeah, pretty much. What do you want? Reports of a band of rogue fleshies causing trouble around here. Unless you've got the paperwork to prove these are just fuel pellets on their way back to the ship, I'm gonna have to intervene in a most military fashion, you understand? Yeah, understood every word, so much so that my associate Mr. Sad Neil here will explain it all. I'll just inspect the pellets for compliance.
Twitch pushed Neil to the forefront and quickly went around to poke the guild awake.
So, fuel pellets, the ship, which way is that again?
Neil said.
Beacon's clear as day. What unit are you even from? That armor's a bit old-fashioned, isn't it?
The legionary asked.
The First Empire Special. You see, I'm from an elite team of operatives. Ever heard of the WB? I didn't think so. We're the hands of the Empress. So secret that most grunts like you don't even know what we're about. We know everything about this whole thing. In fact, the only thing we don't know is what the deal is with the fuel pellet ship thing you said about. So, since I'm your superior officer, why don't you remind us all of that, loudly? Don't make me WB ya. You don't even want to know what that involves. Sorry sir, I'm afraid I'm not so sure about this. Gonna have to clonk their holes just to be safe. We call that safe. Doesn't that make a mess? You'll be at the depot soon. They'll be in the flesh grinder soon enough. Fascinating. And what do you think, Fuel Pellet Prince?
I say fuck that shit. Clog these holes, you 3.5-inch floppy! Nuke roared, jumping up with sword in hand and lunging it through the legionary's chest.
Yeah, that's it. Now call him a command line interface. That's a good one.
Rick commented. The insults fell on deaf ears / disconnected microphones, as Nuke's First Empire blade had cut the bot's power. His companions surged forward for revenge, but the whole guild was up and at them. After a little brawl, the visitors were decommissioned, but the threat of clogging still hung in the air like a bunch of misty clog fog hanging in the air. It was time to decamp and carry on.
Fuel, ship, yeah, there's some bullshit going on here, isn't there?
Izumi said. And we're the fuel. Something tells me it wasn't going to be us running on a bunch of giant wheels or something, Nuke said.
And what use does Cat Lon have for a ship?
Izar asked.
There's no other land out there.
Pretty sure there is. You know, Akran,
Rick said.
Impossible, there's no water.
A spaceship,
Izumi realized.
Gotta be.
Rick nodded.
Only place worth going is up there. If you like this place, you'll love Earth. She's trying to bounce on out of here, just like she always said, huh?
With this, Rick became lost in thought. There was little time for thought, though, as the guild's stroll around a huge mountain of debris brought them face to face with something that was looking for them. It was a building-sized, four-legged machine with a large hammerhead face, blocky, ash-covered body, and two great chimneys rising up from its shoulders. Lights were scanning the ash in front of it as it lumbered forwards, puffing the odd bit of black smoke from its twin exhausts. It leant down to analyze the ground more closely, like a bone dog sniffing in the sand. Then suddenly, its head turned to face the guild.
Guys, are we gonna die?
Pia asked.
I think that's the plan. She's bringing out the big boys,
Rick said, readying his stick. Not that a stick would do much against the 2-meter-thick legs, and the rest was well out of reach. As it stomped towards them, there was suddenly a sense of impending doom. not the sort of feelings Beep recommends. Fug. Sorry guys, kinda thought this would work, Nuke said. Nuke, I guess it was always going to end something like this, Izumi said, clasping onto him. My prince, I will distract it. Please flee while I lead it away, Watson said. The brave servant of House Tashino took up a spear and was about to enact his plan, but Beep swiped the weapon from him. You are not a distraction. You are small. Beep. I am big and strong. I will distract it until it dies. It is a gift, but only if you all promise to associate. Beep. Squeaky, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you can hot rod it over someplace, we'll give you the biggest mass association session this side of the classics, Nuke said. Beep. Then I will distract his life very quickly so that it is dead. Please be impressed. Beep. Beep said, turning and pounding out towards the mechanical colossus. It lowered its head, shunting a sharp beak at its prey, but Beep grabbed hold of it and lifted herself up. The weight of her suit seemed to stop the machine from raising its head again, giving her time to stand up and then leap onto its back, spear outstretched. You are not part of the food chain. Very bad. Beep, she told her victim as the spear tip was jammed into a join in the armor. The colossus reared up on its hind legs, smoke now billowing from its chimneys. Beep hung from the spear, but the shaft split. She almost fell away, but grabbed onto a handy protrusion further down the back. That sentence meant something entirely different in the manga adaptation. Should we rescue her? Elena asked amid the nearby audience.
Seems like she's on top of things,
Isaiah chuckled. All the Shek laughed heartily, while the others, wary of the parasite, dared not react to such a provocative phrase. It was true though. Beep was now smashing bits and pieces out of the machine's interior. She had peeled back an armor plate and was going to town like a big thing at a sleepover. Oil was washing down into the ash below, and the machine was getting shaky. It was turning around over and over, unable to target the menace on its back. Was it mercy when Beep jumped down to stand in front of it instead? Nay, this was at most a mercy blow. Now you will die, Beep, but you will get to see what is called an ultimate combo move. Beep! It is called the All Slap. Beep! I will hit you with the strength of all associated things. So saying, Beep stepped forward and whipped a hand across the machine's drooping hammerhead. Not much happened.
Oh, Queen Beep, sorry, but you can't do an ultimate combo move on your own,
Isaiah called out. I'm not on my own, Beep, Beep claimed. She was right. There was a sudden rumbling, then the ground below the Colossus pulsed upwards, blasting ash into a great cloud through which the machine soared into the air. For a brief moment it saw its home ranges from 50 meters high, before plummeting down into them again, exploding into pieces as its immense weight cut through the ash to the rubble below. Just like in the manga, holy shit, Nuke marveled. Now we shall all continue to be alive. Beep! The Great Mover is happy, Beep reported. Queen Beep, how are you able to do that? Izumi asked. It was not me, Beep. Then the Great Mover, what is that? It is no longer required to move, but it still likes it. Beep! It is down there, she said, pointing at the ground.
Planet Builder, right?
Twitch said.
Yup, Planet Builder. Supposed to be switched off, but what can I say? Guess the Killer Queen has a knack for turning stuff on,
Rick added.
Correct,
Gustafsson chimed. It seems a little dangerous, Watson said. It is not dangerous. It is under my control. Beep, Beep said. Then we are not at risk here. Yes, we are at risk everywhere. That is why it is great. Beep. It's literally below our feet, poking up and stuff. That's really messed up, Nuke said. It is asleep now. Beep. There is not much fuel in the underworld. If it runs out, it might die. Beep. Fuel, huh? Does it eat fleshy fuel pellets, perchance? Elena asked. It would have to be really hungry to do that. Beep, Beep said. Not the answer one hopes for, but there wasn't much one could do. So, hoping to not be suddenly pulled into the underworld by an ancient hungry planet machine, the guild walked on. Really takes the relaxation out of walking when you know about the underworld, but by a stroke of luck, they had plenty of memory-dampening substances to help with that. They hiked up a long hill covered in ruins, ruins that were growing ever more elaborate, large, and overall less ruined. "Well, where is this cat empress anyway?" Nuke asked.
Halt!
A distant voice shouted. A bunch of skeleton legionaries filed out of a gap in a particularly large, blackened ruin, towering so high that its top was invisible in the overcast sky above.
No one may approach the seat of the Empress. Prepare to be recycled,
A legionary announced.
Oh, seems we're there. Hooray! Let's make ourselves at home,
Isaiah said. Some 20 legionaries piled into the guild, then were sorted into neat piles by the guild. All they had achieved was leaving a trail of prints in the ash leading through the crumbling complexes around them, presumably to this seat of the Empress. It was time to kill the past to save the future, a mission shared by the guild and the Lost Empress alike.